So once again, formally good morning to all of you. So this is lecture number 1.3. Already I have shared some videos, video 1.2a to f. The total screen time for those videos is around 60 to 62 minutes. So ideally you could have used today's 8 o'clock class, 8 to 9 o'clock to view them, or you might have done that earlier. If you haven't done that, please go through those videos, prepare your class notes, and be prepared for tomorrow's class. Though I am taking online class, I am not able to write a lot. So it is a PPT class. Taking online PPT note is difficult. I understand that fully, but still it is a very good idea if you can take class notes the way you take if I am teaching in Blackboard. So today we are going to talk about grinding classification. There are different ways grinding process can be classified. So we are going to look into that, and as many as processes that we can cover today, we will do that. Otherwise, we will do the rest of them tomorrow. And simultaneously, for some of them, I will also do material removal rate calculation, because already for all machining processes, all relevant machining processes, we have already done that material removal rate calculation. So we have two different kinds of surfaces in engineering. We have flat surfaces. So if you are sitting in front of a table, that table would be having a flat surface. You have cylindrical surfaces, the spindle, shafts, whatever you see, those are cylindrical in nature. So those are cylindrical surfaces. So once again, another guy. So those are cylindrical surfaces, and there are also surfaces which do not belong to cylindrical surface or flat surface. Say for example, the top of your mouse is neither cylindrical nor flat. So these are called free from surfaces or curved surfaces. So each one of them may require grinding. So we have a grinding classification based on that. Flat surface grinding. So grinding of flat surfaces, grinding of cylindrical surfaces, and grinding of freeform surfaces. Now flat surface doesn't have a sense of external, internal. I do not know whether you can see me or not. This particular surface is cylindrical. This is having an external surface. This is the digital pen holder where I put the digital pen like this. There is an internal surface which is also cylindrical. So cylindrical surfaces can be both external and internal, and both of them they require grinding. More mechanical engineering examples are, for external surface, you have a shaft. This shaft has bearing locations. So those bearing locations are to be ground. Bearing location does not mean only that they will accommodate bearing, which could be anti-friction bearing like ball bearing or needle bearing or cylindrical bearing, or it could be a hydrodynamic or hydrostatic bearing. It can as well be, bearing location as well can accommodate a gear, a pulley, any one of them which are mounted. As far as internal surfaces are concerned, which requires grinding, think of an IC engine. IC engines have piston and cylinder arrangement. The internal bore of the cylinder that requires grinding. Another example I would like to give, internal cylindrical surface which requires grinding. Collets. You might have heard of collets or collet chucks. If you have not heard of or you cannot recall it, after the class, whenever you get time, you do a Google image search. On collet chucks, typically drills, end mill cutters are mounted in a CNC machining center. So these internal surfaces are also to be ground. Now, how do you grind internal cylindrical surfaces as such? There are two ways of grinding cylindrical surface. One is called cylindrical grinding machine. Another one is called centerless grinding machine. Typically in centerless grinding machines, short pins, that means which are lengthwise they are shorter. So shorter pins, spindles are ground. Shafts are typically not ground in centerless grinding machine. They are small. Tool or cutter grinder. Say for example, you have a large end mill cutter. It will wear out after use. Or you have a gear hob or a gear shaping cutter. It has to be resharpened. So that is done in a tool and cutter grinding. As far as free-form surface grinding, this is going to be an assignment later on when we formally start giving assignment, that you have to find out how to grind them. The hint lies in how do you machine free-form surface. If you know how do you machine free-form surface using a similar geometric tool, it can also be ground. So there lies the hint. Today you need not have to take this assignment. Assignment should be formally provided to you. We have one more very important machine element, which are gears. The flanks of the gears require grinding. There are different ways of gear grinding. This I am not going to cover. This also you have to self-study on your own. Then what we are going to do is that within this lecture series, that is 1.3, 1.4, we are going to talk about material removal rate in grinding. Till now we have avoided grinding. We have only concentrated on machining. So in this particular series or module, we will, or the last part of the module, we will talk about material removal rates. And there is another classification which is called finish form grinding or precision grinding. Another one is called creep feed grinding. Another one is for high efficiency deep grinding. Here, if you are doing surface grinding, down feed, as we have mentioned, is 2 to 40 micron. Whereas in creep feed grinding, the same down feed is much larger. It is much larger. It is as much as 0.5 to 20 millimeter. You might say, what am I going to do with 20 millimeter material removal? Yes, that is also a grinding process, and because of that, it is no longer called grinding, it is called abrasive machining, and that's why we named the course Theory of Abrasive Machining. High efficiency deep grinding also, your down feed is much larger than precision grinding. It is around 0.2 or 0.1 to around 5 millimeter. Another thing in high efficiency deep grinding speed is much higher. In precision grinding also, grinding speed can be higher, but it need not be higher all the time. Now, once again, someone is trying to enter. So this is the classification. This is what we are going to cover. This I have just given an introduction. Now let us come to them one by one. First one is surface grinding. First one is surface grinding. So this is a schematic of a surface grinding machine. This surface grinding machine is called horizontal spindle surface grinding machine. This can be a conventional machine. This can also be a CNC machine. So this can be conventional machine where all the motions are driven conventionally, or it can be driven under CNC control. So there are different options for you having a surface grinding machine. No, nobody has joined. Okay. Now, what are the motions and what are the elements? This is the equivalent of headstock. We have headstock in milling machine. We have headstock in lathe. So you can call it headstock or cutting head or grinding head. Cutting head or grinding head. What it does is that this is the grinding spindle, this is the grinding spindle, and on this grinding spindle, this one is the grinding wheel which is mounted. The grinding wheel rotates in a particular direction. In this particular case, it is rotating in the clockwise direction. So there is one motion required, which is motion A, rotary motion of the grinding wheel. This is my workpiece. This workpiece reciprocates in this particular direction, which is mounted on the table. So this work speed, the speed of reciprocation of work, is called work speed, and that is denoted by VW. So it is not only called horizontal spindle surface grinding machine. Someone can add another qualifier here. It is reciprocating table. What else do you have? As you can see, this is the width of the grinding wheel, which is denoted by BS, whereas the width of the cutting workpiece is much larger. So in this particular case, width of the workpiece is much larger than the width of the grinding wheel. So in a single pass, the entire width cannot be ground. So for that, you require another motion. This is the transverse feed or cross feed, which has to be given. This cross feed is given after each stroke of the table. So there are three motions that I have identified. One is the rotary motion, one is the reciprocating motion, one is intermittent linear cross feed. There is one more motion, which is D. D is the motion with which you incorporate down feed, which is equivalent to depth of cut. So this kind of grinding where BW is more than BS and you need to give a cross feed, it has a typical name. This name is called transverse surface grinding. In the last class or sometime we have shown you a plunge grinding process. So now let us have a look at So you have seen. Now let us have a look at transverse surface grinding process. So these videos have been prepared by our staff member, Mr. Tanmoy Borom, and he did it within a very small amount of time without any knowledge of video editing. He did all those editings, and this is the final result that I am presenting. So as you can see, the table is reciprocating, the spindle is rotating, there is already a down feed, and the grinding is going on. If you look closely, the grinding wheel is gradually going away from us. Now it is reversing. Once again it is entering the workpiece and machining the entire width of the workpiece. It is from another viewpoint. As you can see, it is coming more towards the operator. So this is transverse surface grinding, where the table reciprocates, there is a down feed, spindle rotates, and after each stroke there is a transverse feed or a cross feed provided. Now let us come to another grinding process, which is called plunge surface grinding. In plunge surface grinding, this is the one view, this is the side view. So here is the grinding wheel, this is my grinding wheel, which is rotating with a speed of ns. It is having a diameter of ds. This is the same grinding wheel which is rotating with ns. This is my workpiece. This is my workpiece which has been shown here. This workpiece is reciprocating with a speed of Vw, which is called work speed. At this moment, the red arrow indicates it is going from my right to left. There is an engagement. This engagement is called A. The same engagement has been shown here as A. Why am I calling it plunge grinding? In a single stroke, the entire width of the job is being ground. This is the width of the job, which is Bw, and this is the width of the grinding wheel with Bs. So this Bs is more than Bw, which enables grinding of the entire surface of the job in a single stroke. Few minutes back we have talked about transverse surface grinding. In that case, in case of transverse surface grinding, your Bw was more than Bs, and this is plunge surface grinding. This video we have seen earlier, but this is the problem which I am not able to solve. So this video you have seen earlier. Once again, if you look at it today with this knowledge, you would be able to appreciate it better. Let me stop the video at the exact point. Here, if you see the width of the job and the width of the grinding wheel, they are different. Here, I do not know whether I can annotate within the video or not. This is the width of the grinding wheel, width of the grinding wheel Bs, and this is much smaller, which is the width of the job, which satisfies this particular condition, and here you have this one. Now let us try to, we have already calculated material removal rate. Let us try to remind you once again about material removal rate. So material removal rate is the projected area into Vw. Which one is the projected area? This is one particular dimension. You have in the other dimension as well. This is the projected area. If you project it, this becomes the projected area. So the projected area is nothing but Bw into A into Vw. So that becomes your material removal rate. So Vw, Bw into A. This we have used in one of the class, possibly lecture 1.1, and in lecture 1.2, lecture 1.2b, this was derived as well, drawing a similarity between slab milling and plunge surface grinding. Now let us once again revisit another grinding process, which is called, this is not revisiting, this you are looking for the first time, this is called groove grinding. So this is your NS, this is DS, this is A. So these are all known to you. This is VW. This is reciprocating, but at this moment it is going in this direction. This is the side view. This is the side view. So in the side view, this is your DS. This is BS. Here the width of the job is much larger. Here width of the job is much larger. Despite that, this is not traverse surface grinding. This is not. You are making a groove. So we are making a groove, and so this is your downfeed A. We are making a groove. So this is called surface grinding. So it is very similar from MRR point of view. This is very similar to plant surface grinding. Only thing is that instead of BW, the width of the groove, which is equal to BS, that will come into picture, which is VW. Here this symbol says that it is reciprocating. So this is reciprocating perpendicular to the screen on which you are looking at this particular lecture. Now let us go to next one that we have already discussed, traverse grinding. So this is traverse grinding. We have shown a video, but we did not do the nomenclature to that extent. So this is this. So this is VW. This one is A, downfeed. This is DS. And just to remind you once again, this is pi DS into NS divided by 60 will give you the grinding speed in meter per minute, meter per second, provided this is in meter. If it is in millimeter, it would be divided by 60,000. So this is the story. Now this is very similar to plant surface grinding, but what is happening here? This symbol says this particular workpiece is reciprocating perpendicular to your viewport, and this is BW. As because BW is much larger than BS and it is not groove grinding, this is the current position of the grinding wheel, and after one stroke this would be the position of the grinding wheel. So the grinding wheel is moving in this direction by this amount. This amount is called S or feed. Now, as because it is transverse feed, quite often it is given as cross feed or transverse feed. So SC symbol is used. This concept of feed would be used in cylindrical grinding as well, but today we are not going to do any MRR calculation. Now, where is the downfeed in the right hand figure? Downfeed in right hand figure is this one. This is your downfeed. So this is the amount of new surface that is being ground. So MRR would be the projected area of the new surface that I am grinding off into VW. So the projected area would be this SC into A into BW. Now how much would be the value of SC? Can it be SC? Can it be more than BW? Sorry, BS. If it is more than BS, then what would happen? You will make this kind of grooves. So this is SC more than BS. That is not the point. So SC has to be less than BS. Typically, SC value lies into the area of this domain. If this particular multiplier is large, then you are going to have rougher surface. If this multiplier is less, then you are going to have smoother surface, because if this is less, the same area which has been ground earlier, that would be once again finished by the grinding wheel again and again and again, and you are going to get much better finish. But definitely, as you can see, as SC goes down, material removal rate would also go down. So in case of traverse grinding, let me write down the expression for material removal rate once again. So material removal rate is equal to SC into A into VW. This is wrong. This would be VW. So SC into A into VW, where SC is the cross feed, and typically cross feed is less than the width of the job, width of the grinding wheel. After this, we are more or less at 9:30 now, 9:30, 9:31. So we have another 25 minutes time. After this, today I am not going to do any further derivation on analysis. So it would be primarily technology part of it. So what we have done this thus far, I have given or discussed different classification of grinding, how grinding process should be classified, and then I am dwelling on grinding process to generate flat surfaces. Only one kind of surface grinding I have talked about. All those surface grinding that I have done, they are horizontal spindle. That means possibly later on we would have something which would be called vertical spindle. And for surface grinding, we have discussed horizontal spindle surface grinding, we have discussed traverse surface grinding, we have discussed plunge surface grinding, and we have also discussed groove grinding. And in all of them, I have told you how to calculate material removal rate. Now let us come to cylindrical grinding. Cylindrical grinding means, once again, to revisit, wherever you have a cylindrical external surface, that has to be ground. Cylindrical grinding does not mean external, but I am starting the designation with external. So this is it. So here also, this is your grinding head. I don't know why R is not coming. This is your grinding head. This is the spindle on which the grinding wheel is mounted. This is basically the cover for the grinding wheel, and this is workpiece head. That means which accommodate the workpiece and also provides a rotation to the workpiece. So here, in the previous case, when we were doing surface grinding, the workpiece was mounted on the table was reciprocating, so you are getting VW. Here VW we are achieving by rotation of the work speed, and that is given by work head or workpiece head. Now this job, this is the workpiece which is mounted between something which is similar to tailstock and the work head, and typically this is mounted between centers. So this mounting is in cylindrical grinding machine, particularly for external grinding, mounting of workpiece is between center. If you do not know how to mount workpiece between center, once again you have to visit the appropriate chapter of DeGarmo of Kalpakian. So this is the only motion that we have talked about, which is the workpiece rotation motion. This is the spin, this is the grinding wheel, this is rotating at NS, this will lead to VS, NW will lead to VW, and this will lead to VS. Now, if you have a long shaft, I do not know whether you can see me or not, if you have a long shaft, something like this, which is mounted between centers, and the entire length of the shaft has to be ground, and the grinding wheel width is not so much, this is say 200 millimeter, and the grinding wheel width is 30 millimeter, then the grinding wheel has to be moved along this particular direction. So this is your traverse direction. So this does not provide VW, this does not provide VW, it gives you feed. As because it is longitudinal grinding, we will call it LS, so longitudinal feed. So that's what we will do. There is one more thing. No grinding can be possible if the workpiece and the grinding wheel, they are engaged. The workpiece and the grinding wheel, they are to be engaged. So this is something like similar to depth of cut, and we call it infeed. In surface grinding it is called downfeed because the spindle comes down, and here it is called infeed because the grinding wheel, so this is your infeed axis, the grinding wheel comes towards you, so it is infeed. So here also you require four motion. One is infeed, one is rotational speed given to the spindle, one is rotational speed given to the workpiece, and the longitudinal feed which is given by transverse direction. So such a grinding process is called transverse external cylindrical grinding. In some of the lecture notes, instead of transverse, longitudinal feed external grinding can also be mentioned. However, in most of the standard books, it is mentioned as transverse external cylindrical grinding. Possibly in Degarmo's book, in Kalpakian's book, this would be mentioned. In Malkin's book, the technology part is not that well covered. So if you can get hold of Degarmo's book, it would be useful. Now let us look at a video and try to identify all these axes. So once again, this has been done by Tanmoy, our laboratory staff. God knows how do I get this. No, each time I have to go out. Keep, then this and this one. So this is a videography of cylindrical grinding. Now see, he is mounting the job. He is mounting the job between centers. So this is the tailstock side, just like a lathe. This is the center, and the other center is here. I do not know whether you can see my mouse or not. I am not going to do it any further because it is creating problem. The other center is here. So this is the other center. Now if you mount a spindle or a job between two centers, the motion coming from the work head or cutting work head would not be transmitted. So there has to be a positive transmission. I think I have to do it. So this is the other center, and there has to be a positive transmission which is given by this, which is quite often called job catcher or lathe dog or job catcher. So these things are your first year, second year stuff. If you have forgotten, then you refresh your memories. So can any one of you help me how to start the video without leaving this slide? Anyone who knows how to do that? know. You people do not know. So now the spindle has started. The job has started. The job has started rotating. The table has started reciprocating. So that is the traversing. And now you will be able to see the actual grinding process. The grinding wheel is rotating. So this is your grinding wheel. This is your grinding wheel. This is the job which is rotating, and the actual grinding is going on. Now let us go back to the previous slide. Let us stop this and do something extra. This is not exactly depth of cut. This is infeed. So gradually, automatically after each stroke, as you can see, extra infeed is being given. It is not given manually. It is given. It is a conventional machine, but it is given by the machine itself. You can see it. And this is the speed control movement knob. So the reciprocation speed can be increased or decreased. So that is good enough video for us. Now let us go back and discard a part of it. So for doing that, let me erase. Okay, I can do it here. So this is the next slide where the same external traverse grinding is being shown in a schematic manner. So it is external cylindrical grinding and it is a traverse grinding. So this is your grinding wheel. This is the diameter of the grinding wheel. This is rotating with NS. This is mounted on the grinding head that you have seen in the video. This is the representation of the spindle. This is your center that we have talked about. This is the tailstock. In this diagram, I am not showing another center. This is just for convenience. I am showing as if it is mounted on a chuck. External cylindrical grinding workpieces are not mounted on a chuck. They are typically mounted on a center. That I have not shown because the lathe dog has to be shown. The effort in drawing is more. Now, this workpiece head is rotating it at NW. The ground surface is DW, and this is the amount of infeed, and it is continuously moving in this direction with SL. So if this is a cutting tool, if I say this is a cutting tool, the geometry or kinematics is very similar to grinding. Only thing is that the cutting tool or the grinding wheel is continuously rotating. Now this grinding wheel, VS would be calculated by pi ds ns by 60. This will come in meter per second, and VW would be calculated as pi NW dW, and this will come in meter per minute, provided this is in meter and provided this one is in meter. NS is in RPM and this one is also in RPM. How much is infeed in case of cylindrical grinding? Infeed in cylindrical grinding is rather less. It is never more than 1 to 10 micron. And how much is SL? Once again, go back to the definition of S in traverse surface grinding. There it was SC, and SC was 0.05 to 0.9 of PS. So it is same here. So SL is also 0.05 to 0.9 PS. Where is my BS? BS is nothing but the width of the grinding wheel. So this is my BS. So that explains the kinematics in external traverse cylindrical grinding. You have seen the schematic of the grinding machine. You have seen the schematic. You have seen the video, and I have also shown you all the variables in this particular slide. So hope everything is very clear. If it is not clear, nothing to worry, because as you have seen, I am uploading all the lectures. Typically, after recording this lecture, just a minute. After recording this lecture, it takes around 15 minutes to process it, and uploading in YouTube takes around half an hour to 45 minutes. That depends on our upload speed. Now let us go into the next one. Let me see. Yes, this is where I will stop. This is for external plunge grinding. So why there is a requirement of external plunge grinding, let me explain that, and after that we will discuss this. So this is a shaft. So this is a shaft. Yes.
Sir, in last cylindrical grinding,
Yes.
is both work spindle are rotated by motors or only that
The grinding head has a motor, separate motor. This NW comes from a separate motor. These two motors are separate. There is no need for synchronized motion between them. Okay, no precise synchronization of these motor speeds are required. Roughly, say for example, you require a VS of say 50 meter per second and VW say 3 meter per minute. Instead of 3 meter per minute, if it becomes 3.05, you do not lose anything. So there are two different motors. So can I continue?
Sir,
Okay.
excuse me, sir, there is a question for me. Sir, hello.
Yes.
Sir, in plunge grinding, the width of the
Plunge surface grinding?
yes, sir.
Plunge surface grinding? Yes, tell me.
Sir, width of the wheel is greater than width of the workpiece.
Yes, width of the wheel is this one, BS, and it is greater than that of the workpiece.
Sir, what will you say if they are equal? So in
Then also we will say it is plunge grinding.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, let me continue, please. So this is the shaft. Now this is one of the bearing location. Possibly a anti-friction bearing would be mounted here. This is another bearing location. This is another bearing location where a bearing would be mounted here. Can any one of you tell me what is this? What is this feature? Anyone? This is a dovetail. This is an integrated cluster gear. So this is the representation of the gear. Look here. Can you see? Does it ring a bell now? Okay, so you have a gear, you have a shaft which was forged. After that it has been machined. These two bearing locations are to be ground. Why they are to be ground? Because you want very precise control of shape and size so that a anti-friction ball bearing can be mounted. Now this particular shaft is rotating at NW. This motion is coming from workpiece head or work head. This is the grinding wheel. I could not draw the whole grinding wheel. This is the spindle of the grinding wheel. This spindle is rotating at NS and this spindle is being rotated by the grinding head. So there is a motor. Now here we cannot move in this direction and grind all the surfaces, and the bearing location is small. Maybe the bearing location is 20 millimeter or so. So if I have a wider job, wider wheel, I can finish this bearing location without giving a crossfit. There is no SL required. It is not required. So this is my BS. This is not exactly width of the job, but this is the width of the feature. And this is advancing in this direction with an infeed of A. So how much is this infeed? This is say 1 to 5 micron per revolution of the job. So here one motion is not required. Which motion is not required? Traverse motion is not required. So how is it equivalent to some machining operation in a lathe? In a lathe, as if you are doing a grooving operation, as if you are doing a grooving operation, or you are doing a parting off operation. There is no longitudinal feed to the grooving tool or the parting tool. It is only moving in the cross direction. So that is my, here the equivalent direction is also cross direction, but we give it a new name. It is in feed. So a lot of technology part I have covered today. Let us call it a day today here, and let us keep everything because these annotations would be useful. So let us keep it, and we have covered a lot today. So what is left out is internal grindings. So that we will discuss in tomorrow's class, and I think it is high time all those lectures, material, videos that I have uploaded, please go through them immediately before tomorrow's class. Now how do I stop process presenting? So I am stop presenting. So fine. So please go through them, go through this lecture. Once I upload it, I should not say I am enjoying the class. I enjoy interacting with the student face to face, but this is the new reality. We cannot do anything. So still I am trying to enjoy. It is also very difficult for you people because you have to continuously attend one class after another in front of a video screen. This is rather boring because if I am sitting in front of a video screen continuously for 3 hours, it is rather boring. And it is training to the eyes as well, but you people are much more younger than me, not a Buddha like me, so you would be able to cope up hopefully. So let me take the attendance. Shiva Shankar.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
Present, sir.
Arey, present sir, I can understand. How are you? Have you taken breakfast?
No, sir. After this class.
After this class you will do. Such a Kailash?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Where you are from?
I am from Tamil Nadu, sir.
Tamil Nadu. Which part of Tamil Nadu?
Coimbatore, sir.
Coimbatore. So it is deep south, almost towards the Kerala border.
Yes, sir.
So my geography is not
Kerala.
bad. My geography is not bad, is it not?
Yes, sir. It is the border between Tamil Nadu and Kerala.
Yes. Acha, Harsh? Harsh,
Oh, yes, sir.
you are from
Maharashtra, near
Ma-
Nagpur.
near Nagpur. Okay. Siddhant Gautam. Acha, those who have given attendance, one by one, you mute yourself, please, after giving attendance. You can see whose name I am going to call, so he can unmute. And Jatin Kumar Ajay, Arpit Patel, you were present. Where are you now? Shantanu?
Present, sir.
Shantanu is present. Shantanu is from Nanded. It is very hot over there. Ashok More?
Present, sir.
Ankit Anurag?
Present, sir.
You also go by the name Ankit Singh?
No, sir. Sir, it's my like parental name.
Oh, it's a parental name. Anup Kumar Singh? Anup Kumar Singh? Are you present? Anup Kumar Singh, can I say your mark shot? Can I see your face? Where are you? Anup Kumar Singh, I am marking absent. Who is this guy? Anup Singh. So I am asking, only when I am asking that I am marking you absent, then you are responding. Switch off your video. Muralidhar, where are you? Acha, okay, fine. Muralidhar is there. Acha. Then Ritesh Lovansi.
Yes, sir.
Arey bhai, can you not
Yes,
see
sir,
this?
present.
Oh, you cannot see the screen. That is the problem. Oh, that was my mistake. I am sorry. I am sorry. You people should have told me. Now you can see, is it not? So, Ritesh
Yes, sir.
Lobhansi is present. Next guy is Girish.
Present, sir.
Girish is present. Next is Gajanan.
Present, sir.
Durga Chand. Durga Nand.
Present, sir. Present, sir.
Rohitas.
Yes, sir.
Tarjil.
Present, sir.
Once again, those who are absent, I am calling. Please respond if you are present. Siddhant Gautam, Agorwal, Jatin Kumar Agorwal, Arpit Patel. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Maybe if you have a class from 10 o'clock, once again you will get 3-4 minutes rest. Utilize that rest and once again join that class. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye.